Hi, Beaver. That was fun. Why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
Belts in the face. I love that.
Morning. How's it going? You too. See how complicated my life is?
Do a show, they said. It'll be fun.
Oh, look, Skycam. You see Skycam yet? That music's working.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, you waited Skycam. Oh, Skycam.
Hi, Skycam. Number 5.
Chopper 5, Skycam. It's just Stu Mundell. Oh, is it dark in here? Is that me? I got a hell of a tan, didn't I? All right. Welcome back. Good evening. Good evening. Hello. Hello. Thank you for being here. Hello at home. It's Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. The good news is we've got a blue card, so I know what to do this episode. It's going to be our Luftgekuhlt and Lost episode. We're kind of, we're going to talk about cars. We are going to talk about loss. We all sort of have been through stuff lately. Obviously, anyone who watches this show knows there used to be a pretty lady next to me. Nicole is no longer with us. Not a surprise. But our guest also has been widowed. You and I just went through a crazy loss recently with our friend Sam when we were in the hospital with him. So I think we're going to be probably focusing in on some of that this evening as we talk about both Porsches and movie cars. But the good news is Sarah Lassek. Is it Lassek?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, that wasn't her coming in?
No.
I thought she was here.
Almost.
Oh, shoot. I think it's Lassek. And our good friend Sean Bishop. You haven't been here in a while, buddy. How long's
I
it been?
have not.
Been like
Since before.
before Nicole.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is what it's like now.
Yeah.
This is what we do now. It's all different.
Either laugh or cry.
Yeah, you do what you gotta do, right?
A little bit.
We're figuring our way
good Lord.
through all of it. I really don't know what the heck
I was telling
doing.
Ariel, I was looking at myself in the mirror before I came here, and when the lenses aren't polarized, I look like Scott Howard's dad. And when they turn dark, when I hit the light,
Who's Scott Howard? Why do I know? I don't know the reference.
yes, you do. Teen Wolf's dad.
Oh, hilarious. I get it.
Scott Howard.
Now I get it. That's hilarious.
Open that door this instant. It's either him or I look like the horrifying alien from Men in Black 3, Boris the Animal.
Oh, not possible.
Yeah.
Not
Just
possible.
Boris.
That's pretty good.
It's
What's so funny is, you always had a goatee or something, but then you lost a lot of weight, whatever you did. Your life changed. You let go of a lot of trauma. But then you grew your hair. You never used to have this crazy facial hair thing.
this is what fuck it looks like.
It's fun. Honestly, I'm digging fuck it. It's a vibe, and I'm so fucking here for it.
Wow. That is awesome. This is what fuck it looks like. I got to remember that. So what's that? Oh, you got dirty look. This is what fuck it looks like.
Fuck it, yeah.
Fuck it looks very cool on you. It would not look cool on me.
I feel like you wear fuck it too, don't you? Or you wear fuck you.
I think we'd need to see.
We gotta find out. We gotta fuck around and find out.
Fuck around and find out. Oh no.
Go around and fuck it.
Oh boy.
Oh god, that's funny. But no, you and I have been through a gauntlet, haven't we?
Yeah.
I think everybody we know has been through a gauntlet.
That's what I'm noticing lately. Go ahead. What do you
no,
think?
it's like everywhere you turn, you're like, you too. Oh Jesus!
When
God,
somebody has a look on their face, I'm like, oh Jesus, what are you going through? Because everybody, we're all passing the shit around.
It's all disproportionately good and kind people that I know, generally.
Ooh, that are taking the hit?
Yep.
Maybe this is what they talk about, the reckoning, the rapture, the
Quickening,
in Ghostbusters,
any of that.
Ray and Winston talking in the car, the end of times.
Yeah.
End of days? What is he?
What is it with Judgment Day?
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Right. Well, so it's against tech. We've got T2 going on.
I don't know.
Well, I'm happy you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm really...
We have the comments going, everybody. If you're on the YouTubes or the Facebooks, I think the comments are both good.
Yeah.
We were having some issues last week, but I think ones and zeros and Ariel's monitoring stuff over there. Let's say it's Luftgekuhlt week, which is a big deal for car people, and I think our guest this evening may have just gotten here.
Mm-hmm.
She may need a second to settle. I don't want to rush her in, but she's welcome whenever. Hi, hi. How are you?
Right on cue.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for being here. This is my buddy Sean.
Hi, Sean, Sarah. Nice to meet you.
That water is untouched over there. Please
Yes, it
make
is.
yourself
Thank you.
at
Thank
home.
you. Thank you.
And I'll figure some cameras out while you all introduce each other. No, I'm serious.
So, say hello. Who's
I'm
who?
not kidding. Hi, my name is Sarah Lassek.
Woohoo!
I am, I guess, a automotive industry professional and enthusiast and friend of Jay Ryan's.
Well, we only met recently, and I
Yes.
kind of wanted to get into that just because, when you go through stuff, life has a way of bumping you into the people you're supposed to bump into.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what happened for us. Do you want to tell the story of how we met?
Sure. Yeah, I think it was at morning shift, I believe. So end of last year, morning shift at PECLA. And I worked for a company called 000, and our lovely mutual friend Pete Stout. You guys were talking, and I just sauntered up and was chatting with Pete. And I had known of you. Oddly, I've lived in LA for 30 years, and as a car enthusiast, have not been to Good Vibes. So it's a point of embarrassment and shame. But
I mean, I'll take it.
well,
I didn't know
more-
that you were like such an LA native.
I've not technically native, California native.
I think
but
it's
LA
10 years, right? If
Is
you've
it
been here 10 years,
Okay.
you're officially,
Oh,
they
yes.
changed your
Yeah.
birth
They did?
certificate, right?
Okay.
Good
Well,
God,
he's
I'm
staying.
at 30. That blows my mind.
To be fair,
25
it is a
for me.
schlep up there. So
It's a schlep up there, and I live in Westchester, so West Side.
2 schleps.
Yeah,
That's
two
a lot.
schleps. 2 schleps, yeah. But that being said, I have, only heard amazing things. Johnny Lieberman is a good friend and has
love
spoken
Johnny.
so highly of you. And I followed your story, and it broke my heart along the way. So when I saw you, I wanted to say hello and
So it
meet
was
you.
only a surprise to me. You knew what you were doing. Got it.
Well,
I was like,
just-
what a coincidence. This is amazing. My wife, your husband.
But you didn't know my story.
No,
so.
no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you
Yeah.
dropped that on me that day, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm so sorry, but now someone I can talk to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I lost my husband very suddenly in February 6th of 2022. So
sorry.
he was killed riding his motorcycle on a Sunday afternoon. So he walked out the door, and I never saw him again.
Said, see you later.
I said, I'll see you. We're going to have friends over for dinner. And he was going to take a quick ride down to Venice. And that was it. So, yeah, it's, I spent a good amount of time in a grief group, and we had different experiences, right? And it was all women. So our partners or husbands, some died of illness, some died suddenly. But there's no better or worse. It's different, and it changed my life for obviously forever and ever. So that's my notes version.
Yeah, grief rewrote my DNA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It absolutely
Yeah.
did. And I was like, it's
You want to tell your story? Because
Please.
you had a 1-2 punch in like 1 year that was pretty severe.
Oh, yeah, that was the one that kicked me down the grief hole like something out of 300, where they just go boom, and I went backwards into the darkness. Just for some context, came from a big Irish Catholic family, you know what I mean? And I was always the black sheep artist. I was the one that wasn't going to have kids. I wasn't going to get married. You know, my brother did and had kids. My sister did and had her daughter Olivia. And I thought, off my plate. And then I got married. Surprise. And then 5 years later, she got pregnant, which is a bigger surprise. And I was like, what? But ironically, on our 5-year anniversary trip when we were in Honolulu, we got a call from the doctor that day to let us know that we were going to have a son. And I was like, son of a bitch. That's all my mother ever wanted. Mm-hmm. And she's like, in her very subtle way of her to needle me to have a child, she goes, well, I suppose I just stopped asking. I'm like, but you just...
That's Margie for you. I can hear the voice.
I was like, you didn't, because you just brought it up again. So on St. Patrick's Day, we called my mother and father, and I was like, you're going to be a grandmother. It's going to be a boy. We're going to name him Connor. It was great. March. 2 months later, she was dead.
Oh my God.
Before she even got... See, I introduced my family. Well, she was dead, and then right after she died, my sister got pregnant with twins. Mm-hmm. A boy and a girl. I was like, son of a bitch. So the 2-punch came 6 months later when Molly died in childbirth. Giving birth.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Now here I go.
Yep.
Asshole.
We
Stupid grief show.
These are here for a
We do
reason.
that here.
We have these.
But that just kicked me right into the dark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she was my soulmate, best friend. We used to joke that we were, Irish twins separated by 15 years of, birth. But we were the ones that were into musical theater together, and she was, the person I would call, and, just, and it just, in the middle of all this, I now had a son, which it was really, really very strange to be at your highest and your lowest at the exact same time. I really did not know how to process most days. Thank God. I was mostly working from home, so I didn't have to interact with people all that much. But I remember there were days in my office when it first happened, before COVID went to shit and everyone lost their jobs. But I remember
about that.
There were days in my office when I was working on Scooby-Doo where I'd just sit there and stare at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't focus there.
I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. It was awful. And then your loss, everyone just had, it's been a horror show of loss for so many people.
May I
that
ask
I
when
know.
this happened?
It was 2017. My
Okay.
mother died, and then 2018 was Molly.
Wow.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of now crawling back to the. I think I'm emotionally maybe back on my knees. Haven't quite.
You were full plank
Yeah.
before, right? Just
Yeah,
full, just straight
yeah.
on the floor.
I was an outline like Wile E.
Under.
Coyote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like
I think
a
that
sinkhole.
people, there's an expectation. I think even people going through it, you're like, it's a year. A year is the cutoff, right? It's,
I
it's
thought
the
6
classic,
months. I don't know what I
or
was
6
thinking.
months,
I thought-
whatever it
yeah,
is.
you're right.
You're like, because, year of magical thinking. And, that's a joke. And I it's like, I hesitate to say this because you're early in your journey, but it's like, it doesn't ever end. It changes. It just changes. And
It
I think
morphs.
everyone wants you to just go back to normal or who you were.
There is no
and
normal.
There is no normal.
There isn't
And
anymore.
grief, it does rewire your brain. You are not the same person.
It's gonna sound like a ridiculous nerdy equivalent, but there's this debate about Star Trek beaming technology. Is it you that goes on the other end, or is it you that's disintegrated here and rebuilt over there? So are you still you? And grief changed me like that. I'm like, I don't know who I was before, but whatever's left is what's left. And
Yeah.
I got no...
I relate to that. You get taken apart piece by piece, and then you eventually have to put yourself back together, or your support group, your friend group, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I don't care for that answer, just so you know. It would be a lot better if there's there's an end date.
Yeah.
So you just gotta count. It's a countdown.
there's an end date when you end.
Yeah.
Right.
That's when you'll stop thinking about it.
Well, actually, we don't know what
Or-
happens,
right.
so who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Not to be a bummer,
Yeah.
but it's true. But
No, I just
Or
mean
not-
you'll know
not
when
a
you get
bummer,
there.
potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and something interesting also that, I don't have the same experience that any of you have by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously Nicole was a very good friend of mine, and something that I noticed was that my brain stopped working. Like the memory loss and the cognitive abilities, and there were just things that were happening neurologically that I was like, what? I don't. Why doesn't, like, time didn't make any sense? So that was probably the most interesting thing.
They say when you die, you get a piece of people, but we all got her MS. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
We've all got cognitive issues and now neurological issues. That's not what we were looking for. I would have liked her smile, her laugh, her beauty, her magnet.
Good stuff.
I said to Kelly the other day, I'm like, why does everything hurt? I haven't done anything.
Yeah, that's right.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I found that too. You almost have like flu-like symptoms, at least at first, where maybe, I don't know if you can relate to it or not, but I felt physical manifestations as my body started to shed all of that trauma or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was weird. I would get out of bed every day, but I would feel like, like when you just get a massage the next day, you're all kind of with all the acids in your muscles and everything. It felt like that.
I started with 2 therapists because I needed to, and then stuck with one. But there was a lot of talk about. So I'm a big swimmer and I exercise a lot. But after I lost Mark, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move, and they're like, we want you to get up and like move and shake, and like you're literally trying to get it out. And it probably took me like 4 months before I could do any form of exercise. And the first few times you're like, okay, I kind of get what they're saying, because you just like want to sweat it out. You want to sweat out like the grief and the pain and all those.
So it's real. There is a real so like that's
absolutely like ancient tribes would like dance and move and do all this stuff to try to, like, after somebody died, to try to shake it off, basically.
We're mentally processing, but our body is physically
100%.
Processing too. What 100%. The heck? That's a lot.
And
That broke my brain.
Yeah, I can speak to that because that's the somatic response. And so the body does store things inside.
Oh, 100%.
And so now we're talking about completion of a stress cycle. So when you lose someone or when you go through something, your body is in a stress cycle. You have hormones that are being released. You have things that are, different parts of your brain is being triggered or switched on, switched off. All those things are happening. And we're trying to solve these things by thinking and by feeling. But the thing that's actually missing most of the time is this somatic release. And so in order to fully release a stress cycle, you have to find ways to get it out of your body. And you can do that by sounding, so using your voice. That's why when you see people doing like rituals of like moaning and groaning and yelling, that's actually just moving that energy through your body. And so from a physical perspective, you do need to shake it out of your body, which is why exercising is so good. But you can literally just shake, like listen to your body. Your body knows how it wants to release energy.
Is that the equivalent of like when you're screaming into a pillow sometimes in therapy or whatever, because you're just trying to look for some kind of a release?
That's the vocalization of it. So you have the mind, you have the spirit, and you have the vocalization and the somatic. So there are multiple ways that we have to complete stress cycles.
I do that in my car. Just yell. I'm sure there's plenty of people that were like,
Is that yelling at people?
No.
I do.
At
is
the
it
cosmo.
yelling?
Well, depending. This time it was at the cosmo.
Too. Like that is your body responding because it has to get that vocalization
expel
out.
it. Yeah. I used to have a 6-mile walking route before half of it burned down. That went right
more loss and tragedy, right?
That went right uphill into the the historic district of Pasadena, and I would put on headphones and I would listen to like binaural beats or meditation tones or Tibetan singing bowls and stuff, and I would. By the time that was done, my head was buzzing in the best possible way, and I definitely felt a little more at peace. Until I thought about my sister again in 5 minutes, and I was. But
you're probably grounding yourself while you're out there too, right?
Trying.
While you're doing it, just walking on the
connection with earth.
With the earth,
And those are also rhythmic beats, so that helps calm our nervous system. It helps give our nervous system something to latch onto, so that you can get yourself in some sort of a rhythm versus your head that's going here and this thought and this thought and this thought. It's chaotic, and your nervous system is just trying to survive. That's all we're ever trying to do.
It's trauma. It's absolute trauma, and the way it.
But we grew up that way. In that environment. So I have a feeling you were also experiencing like a PTSD, like it was kind of an explosion of all of it at once for you.
It absolutely was. Yeah, it was something that just kept over and over.
Did your
and
Catholic
over again.
guilt inherently tell you it was your fault?
No, but what
not
my
funny.
Catholic guilt
Right.
did was help me replay every friggin' mistake or argument I've had with my mother, say, in my head and think, well, I could have handled that better. Maybe I shouldn't have said
that's
that.
real.
You know,
That's real.
I still do that a little bit.
I still do it too.
Yeah. Even though I stopped blaming or judging, it's still that mechanism is hard to reset when it's. I can't. That was factory programming when I got here.
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out a patch to
Yeah.
get
then,
around
and you
that
can't
shit.
talk to them, you know,
Right.
and you know any relationship, whether it's mother son,
Yeah.
partner, husband, wife, whatever. I mean, you don't do everything perfectly, and when they're just gone, I mean that to me was the biggest mind fuck. Like,
Yep.
I'm sorry, I don't understand how I can't talk to you, and then every terrible thing I ever said, every wrong thing I ever did,
Right.
every mistake ever made, and you're just
It
like
all comes back.
It all comes back, and
For me, that's late at night when it gets quiet and everything's still and I'm getting ready for bed or whatever. And then, you've turned off your day, you've kind of already planned tomorrow or whatever. And then you're just trying to wind down.
All right.
And they sneak in there and it's like, oh, that time when you said whatever, or that time when you did. And it's like coming to terms with all that and letting yourself off the hook, for me, is really hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
And
for the
that's-
same reason, like the childhood responses
And
all
that's-
come up. They all come. The triggers all
The
come
first
back.
thing we should do is let ourselves off the hook.
Yep.
Honestly.
Forgiveness.
Oh, you first.
Fuck you! Do as I say, not as I do.
So now
There's a
I'm gonna,
New England.
I got a room full
Big
of people,
time.
so now I just want to put on my coaching hat. So when you have those moments of that pattern and of that self-talk and of that stuff that you know that you can't change,
Yeah.
what are each of you using as your pattern interrupters? Because we know we need a pattern interrupter. So what are we using in those moments?
I always think of my son.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna start thinking about his son.
If that
So am I.
works, let's go. It's an anchor. I mean, really, it's anything to interrupt that pattern because that pattern is not
Yeah.
serving you.
Yeah. No.
And that applies to everything, not just grief, but like when we get into those
So
things, like you gotta-
I don't. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't disagree with anything you just said, but where is the line? Because that's what I struggle with. I can generally turn it off, but I find that if I go to do that and switch attention to something else, I don't really want to. I feel like I'm thinking about that for a reason, like I'm supposed to be
Like
processing
avoiding
it
it
or
instead of
something.
processing it.
there's a
Yeah,
fine
and I spent
line.
a whole childhood and young adult life avoiding my problems or whatever. You know what I mean? So like as an adult, I'd rather nip a
raised-
few of these in the
Yeah.
bud.
Raised
Yeah.
with benign neglect in the 1970s and into the
Hey,
80s.
we're Gen X.
Well, but
Right.
it's
Come
like-
back when the streetlights are on.
They're
Take
like,
care
"Well,
of
just
yourself.
let me know you're not dead.
Like, where were you all day? You're like, I
I don't know.
It's like
Fucking
everywhere. I rode my bike 7 miles away when you told me not to go any further than around the block.
Exactly. I went to that house I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
We went in that building you
I
told me
went
not
to Salem. We fought Pennywise. It was great.
Talk to that weird guy I definitely shouldn't talk to.
Yeah.
But
A lot
you
of
know,
candy
that's-
from a guy in a green car. What
Yeah,
are you gonna do?
ran into a bunch of teenagers in the woods and had to run from them. Like, it was like just dumb shit all day long.
But so you know my point. Like there is
Yeah, well-
a line, and I don't know where it is,
right.
other than I just believe in nature and my own intuitive abilities to heal myself over time.
Absolutely. And it's the difference between avoidance and processing. So you can be in a rumination and that's where it's not serving you at all. It's sabotage. It's like you're just having this thought and
Spinning
it's-
your wheels.
Yeah, like that's not actually serving you. But if you're in it and you're reflecting and maybe you're talking through that conversation because you can kind of play out those conversations
For
and
sure.
you can help that again, like helping that trauma cycle close out and move through. But oftentimes we're just overthinking something and then you're just putting yourself in that grief position when you don't need to. There's like a balance.
It's also not black and white. Like the coach is
Never.
reading the right thing from the book, but in application, it's such a fucking windy road. It's not
100%.
just black and white.
Well, and I still feel this way, not as much, but especially early on, I would feel guilt if I wasn't like present, like intensely grieving. And that wasn't hard to do for like the first year. But even me going back to doing things that were normal, whether that was going for a swim or
This resonates.
anything else, I'm like, nope, you can't do anything because Mark can't do it. So how dare you go, like I couldn't even open my garage and get in my car. I didn't drive for months, and for, someone who loves to drive is weird and I knew his cycling shoes were going to be sitting there, and I was like, no, you can't go out and do anything enjoyable, normal that he would enjoy. So it was like not forced because it was there, but for a long time I couldn't release myself from having to grieve. Like you were like required to grieve, and I still grieve, but like.
Well, I feel that way, but then I feel like the real world is ready for me to get over it. Like my close friends, they don't care. They'll let me. I could be grieving for 5 years. They're there for me.
Yeah.
But people in the world, they're like, when did she die? 8 months ago. Get back on that horse, buddy.
They
Like
don't
what?
know. They don't know.
It's their own
I was like, the
discomfort.
day that
Is that what
your
you think?
partner.
That makes sense.
100%.
What'd you say?
It's their own discomfort.
Oh,
It has nothing to
100%.
do with you and your actual experience.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
they don't know how to talk to you or be or like.
That checks
it's their
out.
own
Yes.
discomfort.
Yes. It's uncomfortable. It's horrible. It's a topic, and you aren't tired of talking about it. I mean, sometimes I got to the point where I kind of isolated, and still do from time to time, because you're like, I just don't want to talk about it, or I
Yeah.
don't want to just talk about my life right now. I just kind of want to
You don't
sit
want
and stare.
to. You don't want to explain to anybody. You don't want to.
Exactly.
You're just like, here we go.
Yeah.
And whatever the spiel is that you've worked up, you're like blah 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 blah. Oh, fuck it. I don't
Or the
know.
compartmentalizing, because you're like, okay, I have to put on the smiley
Yeah.
face.
So that's what I do, and then you
everything's
budget your
fine.
time and energy because
Yeah.
all of this is taking it out of you because you're putting a face on. You don't really feel that way. Again, car events, public stuff,
Yes.
and it's just a cycle that continues on.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna
there's
say
no-
you
there's
walk
no
away
off?
exhausted from those.
I was hoping I'd feel better after this.
Yeah, we'll get you there.
I do.
We're going to get you there.
I'd be interested to hear from both of you, and because I've noticed a phenomenon with myself that ever since the extreme grief and loss happened, I seem to feel everybody else's pain to like a 20.
Your empathy meter has gone up.
Like it's so bad. It's so I'll cry at anybody else's misfortune.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and feel it deeply and shit like that. Like
I agree.
Fucking Instagram fans like, oh, he's found a baby kitten. I'm like,
Don't
I'm like,
kids in front of me.
you know, and I'm like, God damn, like crying at the baby in the tire. It's that old stupid. You know which one I'm talking about. Like Bert Lahr, just going.
Oh, the cowardly lion. It's so
Oh,
good.
the cowardly lion.
It's. I feel it so deeply.
Yeah. I mean, so we just
everybody.
went through the Sam situation where a friend who is barely younger than you, older than me, right in the same pocket, who has a brain aneurysm. Speaking of suddenly, like your situation, he was with his significant other, and just went blank. And that was the aneurysm it's a stroke, and it's a brain bleed. It's all these different things where he then needed to
dominoed
go
into
into a coma,
whole shit ton
and
of
they
badness.
drill his brain out, and then eventually he just died because he wasn't going to regain anything, so they took him off the stuff.
And he hung on for what, 2 weeks?
It was 11 days in a row that
11
we were
days.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think it was 14 total.
Yep.
The moment we knew about it, we were there
Yep.
for his final 11 days.
Yep. And you were there when he took his last breath.
Yeah, and so that's another weird one.
That's a solemn
40
honor to have.
Yes.
46 years in life, never seeing another person transition. Now 2 in a year.
2. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think I'm over that. And it's not even a bad thing. It's just I don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
I realized that, we, or I guess, and speak for myself, but, it's like we're in, 40s to 50s to 60s, and you're like, we got so much time. We have so much time. Like, we didn't think about it. My husband had a will, wasn't signed. It was like all those things, and which is crazy because
I'll get to it.
He rode bikes and I do like, we just didn't, it's not going to happen. After it happened, I met so many people, and yes, I was in a grief group, but this is even people not in grief groups where these stories started to come out more and more, and you're like, this happens, and why did we not think that it could happen to us? And we just went through life oblivious, but unfortunately it does happen.
And nobody talked to us about that stuff
No.
when we were kids. Our parents didn't even talk about that shit. And if they did, it wasn't in front of us.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's not like they're like, how to be an adult. When you're this old, you should do this. When you get this, you should, like.
Well, that's a really good point you bring up. But what I'm noticing at this age is they didn't know what they were doing either.
They didn't. They
You know what I mean?
Absolutely
They
not.
were just doing their best going through that. When you're a kid, it looks like, oh, the adults have it figured
have
out. They've
all
been
the
doing
answers,
this forever.
have all the
Right.
answers. And I'm thinking,
They're telling me what to do. They must know what to do.
Yeah.
That's not the
Like,
truth. I'm older than a lot of than my parents were at a lot of the significant memories of my life, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I wouldn't have handled
So-
that any better.
No.
I would have fucking fucked it up worse.
I didn't know fuck all at 35, and my parents had 3 of us. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
It's like, oh.
But in ways, you probably knew more than they did at their 35 because of emotional intelligence and how our society has shifted. So, like,
Very
it's,
much.
It's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
it's such a mind fuck because they were doing older things at younger ages.
Yeah, that's
that
why
are
they all looked
developing.
like they were 30 in high school.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did. What was that about?
I don't understand
They
it.
really did.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, you could be like a 30-year-old actor playing
they-
in high school.
yeah,
Did they
they-
have that on 92 and 0,
Right?
right?
Seriously,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Grease.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Stockard
that's a good one, Grease.
Stockard Channing was like 87.
She was
Yeah.
40 something, right?
She was
God.
she was the oldest one on the cast at 40.
At 40.
Yeah.
40.
She was
Yeah.
40?
She was 40 when she
Wow.
played Rizzo.
Oh
Isn't that
my
great?
God.
In all
That-
fairness,
that
I think
was-
Rizzo might have been held back a year.
She was supposed to look a little older.
Yeah. But I want to also like go back to your comment about the empathy because it, you know, I have like I would consider myself to be more of a stoic person, and I'm not so much an emotional person, and definitely not super soft with people I don't know. And I mean, I sort of lost my ability to be tough in those sort of obvious ways. And I find myself the same thing where you're just like things that used to like I could block out or like whatever. It now definitely gets to me.
Yep.
Um,
Like I said,
Is
grief rewrote my DNA.
100%.
It completely
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Emotional, spiritual,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
I'm sure physical as well, because my brain is different. It just processes things differently. So
Yeah.
I feel like a different person than I did when I was
completely
younger.
are. You know,
Not
I
just
think,
a grown version of it. I feel
Yeah.
like a different, like, oh,
Oh.
we're living in a different
like,
universe.
there have been about 10 versions of me that I can clock where I'm like, oh, that guy's dead. That guy's fucking dead.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Do you know John Benton? Have you crossed paths with him at all?
I know who he is, yes.
He has a phrase that he uses all the time where I reserve the right to reinvent myself at any time.
That's a
Ooh, that's
great
amazing.
line.
I
So
think he is a
good, yeah.
genius. I think it's so great because it means he wants to get better all the time. He's constantly evolving and
the
improving as a
time.
human.
all the time.
I just thought it was brilliant. So shout out to John Benton.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's absolutely the way you need to handle it.
Yeah, because we all are a work in progress.
Right.
Like I thought my parents had it figured out. They didn't.
They didn't.
And it'll keep, I think, I'm now 3 years into the loss. And I think every year I've changed, or every year I've sort of it's sort of a different experience. And almost year 2 is actually even harder to me than year 1 because I had to go and do life. Like year 1,
Great.
I didn't work. I
More to
was
look
like
forward to.
dealing with all kinds of like all the fallout and legal stuff and the aftermath of it. And then year 2, you're like, oh wait, I have to go back and like function.
You're like, wait, I have to be around people.
I have to be around people, and it was like how I interacted with people. How the very low tolerance for bullshit.
Me too.
Very
Perfect.
low tolerance.
I'm glad
for
you got there. I was gonna say
idiocy.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever your empathy thing, my bullshit acceptability meter,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it went through the roof or the bottom, but it will not tolerate
Yep.
anything
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
I used to put up with a lot of negative energy for the sake of being, polite, not
Yeah.
wanting to offend people,
Yeah.
and now I just
Smile and nod, that
yeah,
deal.
can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
No room for people pleasing.
I can't.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
Whatever I have left is so precious to me. I'm really, really stingy about who I let it out to.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
it's like, hiding
much
the
of you's
last
been
bit of
stripped
your
away.
spark. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sacred.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that.
Yeah.
Also, like people doing blatantly terrible things or dishonest things,
Right.
or you're just like, I got no time for this. Like I just and don't
I can't even stand near you.
have a filter for it anymore. It's like just don't be like, again, we don't know what you could be gone tomorrow, today, 5 minutes from now. Like, don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
don't be an
truly.
asshole.
Everything you're saying makes sense on an intellectual level, but do you also feel a physical manifestation if you're in a group of whatever and just you go, ooh, this is not.
Oh,
I'm not.
my gut will start going
Right.
into knots, and I'm like, I can't. I gotta.
For me, it's my heart. I
gotta
can
back out of
feel it. I can feel it constricted. There's a weird tension
Yep.
that my
Yep.
chest creates.
For sure.
It's very strange because at
Gotta
first
go.
I thought it was psychosomatic. You think it's a panic attack or whatever, and then you realize it's not connected to anything but just the energy you're around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a book that I read, which it's called The Grieving Brain, and it
great
is really
title.
interesting. And you're 100% right. Your brain, and then everything else literally has to rewire. So they talk about it like you have furniture in your house and it's like you've come out of a dark room and your furniture has been completely moved around, so you like bump into a couch that wasn't there, or you expect to bump into a couch that isn't there, and
fall
so
on the
and fall on the floor,
Yeah.
and it's like your person isn't there, and so your life isn't there. The things that you were so used to are gone, and everything stems from that. You have to like really learn how you like used to go out with your person. You used to call your person when you're out. You used to go to the grocery store and buy things for your person. And now I'm like, I could go to the store and just like wander through aisles. I'm like, what the fuck
Like, what
am I
did I come in
doing?
here
What
for?
am I
Right.
here for?
Yep.
Well, then I go back to I wouldn't do this for me. I was only doing it for her.
Right.
I don't take good enough care of myself.
But I think you're right. And everything stems from that. So, being in a crowd of people, like, my husband would be like, what's the international sign for
What's
like,
the-
let's get the hell out of
Code to
here.
get out of here.
And I was like,
Seinfeld,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, great, now I have to like get myself out of these
Yeah,
situations, and I have
seriously.
to like figure out where I'm comfortable or not comfortable, and going to things by myself now is really difficult. Like I have panic attacks if I don't know somebody there, and I'm just like, I have to like get myself all fired up to like even say hello.
Now you're making me feel better a little bit just
Okay,
because
good.
I relate to
Good.
all of that. And it does feel like in the moment, it feels like a uniquely me problem. It doesn't feel like other people go through that. So that makes me feel better. The pumping yourself up to go out and do things that you don't really even want to go out and do right now. You'd rather kind of just stay here and
Yeah.
weep.
Or just not engage. I mean, that's my
Well,
biggest thing.
so all of the people that we're talking about that are the problem, also I've noticed over time, didn't see this in the beginning, they all have the best intentions. They are all
absolutely
the
do.
nicest, the people who are trying. They're doing their best. And then I find that if that's not good enough for me, then I feel like an asshole because that's not what I need right now or whatever.
Just
No.
Anything? Anybody?
It's just, yeah, I can
That's
feel
just
like
how
that
it is.
sometimes, but I'm done feeling guilty over
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta let go of it.
Yeah, so do I. Some days are better than others when it comes to that stuff, but I'm like, you know what? Again, it comes down to my energy is precious. I can't
Yeah.
spend any of it here.
Yeah. You can appreciate their efforts.
Absolutely,
but
100%.
don't feel guilty if
No.
you're not reacting or behaving in a way that they're expecting you to. That's not your problem. That is not your problem.
Seems like specifically my problem.
No.
Is it really
No,
not
it's
my
their
problem?
problem.
They're
'Cause-
also doing it for themselves too.
Yes.
That is
They're
true.
saying something
Yeah.
to you about your grief because it makes them feel better.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
It makes them feel better because they think that it's making you feel better and it's this loop, but ultimately it's because it makes them feel
Yeah,
better.
people.
To do and say something for you
Yeah.
to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And then when you don't react like what you were saying in the way that they planned out the script that they wrote, that's their own
then the
script.
reaction
Yeah.
is we're all off book at that point.
Exactly. But it's their
Interesting.
story, it's their script. It's not yours.
A lot of people have difficulty with passive grief that isn't their own.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess that would be a normal thing. I've just been through so much of it where I'm
we're,
like,
we're
but I'm
used,
good
we're
at it
used
now.
to
Why
being,
aren't you?
yeah, we're used to being like, well, this is something you say to something, and ever since I experienced all that shit, the ongoing with Sam and everything like that, I've realized, and with Jeff,
Yeah, his
you know,
wife died
and
too,
yeah, with Amanda, because we have a buddy that lost his partner, Amanda. She was 40, died of cancer. It was just, and this was
Yeah.
6 months ago, maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It feels like how time
Yeah.
blurs. When
I thought
that
it was
happens.
before Nicole. It was after. I'm
was it.
all mixed
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, it's just what I have adopted doing now is not being like, I can't stand the things that people used to say to me, like, how are you? Are you okay? How are you feeling? So what I end up saying to them is, what do you need?
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And sometimes it's like, nothing, just sit and watch a movie or something. Like, great.
That's the best answer.
Oh, sorry. I get what you're saying. I thought it was like you were saying back to someone who was trying to comfort you. What do you
Oh,
need?
no,
And I was
no.
like,
That's what I thought,
well,
too.
you're a bigger human
Sorry,
than I
no,
am.
no,
I'm
no.
with you now.
This is
I'm with
clearly
you
for
now.
you,
Yes.
not for
I
me.
want to use
I'm with you now.
I
Yes.
want to take the opposite approach of what used to sort of irk
Yes.
me, which is, there's nothing you can
Yes.
do. I'm like shit.
Yes.
I'm absolutely at my darkest. It's like, you know what I need? I need to not talk about this right now. You know what I mean? It's like, so that's what I said. Then what do you need? What can I do for you? What can I do? And usually they don't know how to answer
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're so used to having a prepared answer for good days and bad days, and it's like,
I love when somebody walks up to me to tell me their problem because they're going through something, because it's nice to hear somebody else's shit that's not your shit.
Yep.
It's when, and I'm getting better about it because I understand that it all comes from a good place now. But in the beginning, it would get me when somebody does the comparison game. When they come up and they're like, "Oh yeah, oh, you know, my dog died," or "Oh, my uncle," or my dad, my sister, whatever. I'm not trying to
It's not
put
a
a hierarchy
contest.
on loss,
No.
but it's not the same.
It's not.
And like, talk to me once you lost somebody suddenly, like what you were talking about. Mine was literally the opposite, where it was such a long thing where that was our life.
Yes.
I don't know whose grief is worse. In my mind, I'm thinking either a spouse or losing a child. Probably a
That's kinda
child
what I would
before.
think.
I'm thinking, but I think they're both pretty close, and her parents and I kind of did the math on that.
God.
The pros and cons column.
Can I offer something on that?
Sure.
Oftentimes people will bring up their own experiences as a point of connection.
Correct.
Not comparison. They're
Correct.
just like, I don't know what to say, so I'm just going to say,
Right.
here's this thing that's not the same, but it's
I had to get
as
there, though.
close as I could possibly think of.
Yeah.
Totally, and I agree with you,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel that way at first.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
don't
Nor should
feel
you
that
have.
way. I just try to be. I just sort of smile and nod.
Smile
I'm
and
like,
nod.
and I just don't say anything.
That's where I'm getting.
Yeah.
The energy.
But
Yeah.
even that, I don't think I would have come to on my own. It was talking to people like you, people like Phil, people in the inner circle who kind of tell you how to do it. Have you tried this?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I found myself getting really irritated by it, and it was keeping me from going out and doing things.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Is that you?
It's,
Do
it's
you
at
too?
the beginning,
understandable.
yes, for sure. Because one, someone would say something, and I'm just like, stop, just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they would get pissed, and I, or they wouldn't get pissed. They would just be like, "What? I mean, I don't get it. Why are you upset?"
I was just. Then it turns into I was just.
The defensiveness kicks in.
That right,
I was
and then
only
it's kind of
trying
like,
to-
but now we're talking about you, and I don't want to talk about any of this.
I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about
It's like
it.
you become a death celebrity.
Oh man, yeah, I'm a
Kind
death
of.
celebrity.
It is, and you are, I used to swim on a team and was swimming when I lost my husband, and I tried to go back, and that was the focus of everything, and you become the woman whose husband died.
Oh,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And he was like so social and knew everyone. So then I would run into people all over the place that knew him that I might not even know. And I was like, okay, I need to like disconnect from, not that I don't want to celebrate
Guess
him.
I'm over swimming.
I guess,
Yeah.
I was like going
that's
back to
gone too.
myself.
It's back to archery.
Yeah, start shooting guns again, but it's, I just, but you do, and then you start to realize, okay, stop being just, came to terms with it and was able to sort of
Yeah.
embrace that and was like, we'll just celebrate him because people want to talk about him and they love him and they want to remember him. So
Yeah.
don't be a bitch. Just let them do it.
It's also your grief and your experience,
Yeah,
though.
I
Like,
mean,
you're a
it's
grieving
hard.
woman. Like, you don't need to be having that shoved down your face. Like,
I
calm
know.
it down, people.
I know, but I just hide in my house with my cats.
Yeah.
But,
Me too, and I'm not grieving.
That's a
so.
great course of action.
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes, Arson Rubicon. I missed the live. Will it be uploaded to YouTube? Yes, we're still live unless
We're
we're,
still
not
live.
live.
We
But
are still live, and I have something from Irene I want to read too.
what happened to your accent, Billy Connolly, from Don Giller in New York? Saying you look like Billy Connolly. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's funny.
That's pretty good.
I'll take it.
This next one is Irene.
Life is hard. Each step feels like lifting cinder blocks. Physical, mental, painful strain. I want to dance. I do at...
Home when no one is watching does feel good. Absolutely, dancing. That's that somatic response we were talking about.
Yeah.
Dancing, singing.
That's what you brought up before.
Yeah.
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 Shout out to Irene Hoffman, by the way. You remember Letterman and Rupert? Remember the old days? Well, that's Rupert and Mrs. Rupert. They watch the show.
How lovely.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Yeah, that is. That's a
Remember
good one.
Hey, Dave, remember that? So, one of the things, I used to always have a buddy in the car, but now I'm alone in the car. So, for a guy who wants to be alone a lot, driving is actually a great place for me to be lately, hence
Yeah.
the road trips and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I escape in the car. I always have, even when I was a little kid. Couldn't wait to get my license, get my freedom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
get out, from my environment.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys relate to? Our car history is mainly movie cars, but I know that you're the same. We share a lot of this appreciation.
Oh God, yeah. When I after Molly died, I'd jump in the Challenger and just drive for hours.
You
Like
would.
I'd get lost
Right.
and just
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
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 And what about you?
You know, I do now. It took me a long time.
Because that was something you guys used to do together.
We didn't. I mean, I've been such a big car nut, and he was so supportive of it. But we had just done a canyon run, and he had just bought a 993, and so it's there's so much about cars that reminded me of him, and I knew that I would get back to it, but it took me quite a long time.
You needed a break.
I needed a break, and then when I started driving, I'm admittedly a very aggressive driver.
Ah.
And everyone thought that I would slow down. I got worse. I was just angry, and I was like, I maybe shouldn't be driving right now. I was really angry. I was angry that everyone else was motorcyclists were. No, they were just.
Oh.
I mean, this sounds awful, but I will share this. Why are they alive?
Yeah.
And why is Mark not alive? And I would see other, people in LA are not great around motorcyclists. There's not a lot of respect. And so I would see other people doing stupid things, and I would just be steam's coming out of my ears. So it took me a minute to get back to sort of the joy of driving and
That's fair.
being able to go back in the canyons in Malibu.
Yeah.
And because he was cyclists, motorcycle, cars in the canyon. So I had to find my driving self again.
Interesting.
Did
to
you
get back
force
to it.
yourself to do that?
I did it in baby steps. I remember literally my first excursion out in a car was going to CVS.
Wow.
And I sat in the parking lot at CVS for an hour because I'm I just want to sit in my car and remember why this was my happy place. And I didn't live far from CVS, and I just went back home, So it took me, and I tried to find new places, which was hard because we both lived in LA for, ever.
Right.
But,
And you'd been doing it.
and I've been doing it forever. But I did, and I mean, cars are so much a part of my soul that it's I'm going to get back there, just exercise. I'm going to get back there. It just took me a long time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I met you through 000, so obviously the Porsche connection. Do you like Porsches or?
It's funny. I'm a car person, not through and through from the time I was little, but I was a BMW person.
Oh, me too.
And then of course all the Porsche people are BMW people just want to be Porsche people, and I was like, no, they don't.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite.
It's-
They don't want to, but they inevitably eventually become.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, we don't
We
want
all
to.
fought
We
it. I
fight
said, "There's
it.
no way I'll have it driving."
No way. And we had three BMW cars.
By the way, that means that I'm also eventually going to be Ferrari one day because I'm saying no, I won't. But so do all Porsche people, and then theoretically,
I don't
a lot
know.
of them
I could go
graduate.
German to German. I don't know if I'll ever do the Ferrari
Well,
thing, but maybe.
me too. But
Yeah.
we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very funny.
But no, it was a point where we had 3 BMW cars and 2 BMW motorcycles, and my husband brought this 993 home, and I was like, traitor.
Yeah.
Dare
And
you.
I loved Porsches. It was not that I didn't, but
But
cut
from
to,
Munich to Stuttgart.
how dare you? And cut to, I have 2 911s and no BMWs. And I
Is that where you are now?
Sometimes.
You have
my,
2 911s?
I have my husband's 993.
I love that you still have it.
I went through just did a full engine rebuild. So I talked to him and I was like, "Thanks, honey." Cylinder
Wow.
started misfiring, and I was like, "Well, now I can't let it go.
I have to take care of it."
fix it." So that was something.
Where did you have your motor done? Can I ask?
Jan Frick at VNS.
Okay.
He's amazing. So
Great.
he works on a lot of Jerry's cars and does a lot of the Porsche Challenge stuff. He's
Jerry Seinfeld, for those paying attention.
Oh,
this is not a name.
Oh,
I do not know
Jerry.
Jerry personally, but I just every time I'm in there, he's got something fabulous in there that he's working on.
That's
Gotcha.
amazing.
Yeah, and then 000 did the other one to me, so I sold. I had an AMG wagon, and I sold that, and I have a 991.2 GTS. Blame-
But
blame-
not the 000, not the giveaway.
No,
car.
no.
Oh.
That's a Turbo S.
Okay,
That's-
okay,
no,
okay.
No, I did not win that. Not allowed
Okay.
to.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Employees.
Yeah, yeah.
That's,
No,
yeah.
no, not mine. So yeah, so I open my garage sometimes and I'm like, what? How did this happen?
So it's a 993 and a 991. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 991.2.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
fabulous.
It's hard when you go to Home Depot, but other
Yeah.
than that, it's great.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Worth it.
Yeah, sacrifices.
Yeah.
Also, what do you get in a Home Depot? Lumber and the 911?
Yeah, no.
Anything will fit but lumber.
I did.
Right.
So this will tell you how far deep in the cat world I've gone. I built them a catio.
Oh, I love it.
And I went to Home Depot to get some AstroTurf to put on the bottom. And this was, thank God, before I sold the wagon. And I was like wheeling it out, but I had driven the 911 and I was like Yui'd back into Home Depot. And I was like, well, this is not going to fit.
BRB.
So yeah, exactly.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So catio.
Love the catio.
Yeah.
Do you know Matt Farah?
I do know.
Yeah,
that.
so
Yes.
mutual friend Matt Farah, they built their house with a
Like
whole...
around the catio.
Yeah. They have tunnels from room to room with kitty doors where the cats can, so they can shut their bedroom door at night, but the cats can go wherever they
Wow,
want
that's like
at
next
any
level.
time. It's pretty amazing.
That is
They
amazing.
thought it all through. And then, of course, there is the entire backyard that's, not the entire backyard, there's a pool and stuff, but the cats have their whole area, like a screened-in porch, with
We're actually-
nothing but all of that stuff. And they can go
We're
inside,
going to do
they
that
can
in
go
Hawaii.
outside.
We're going to enclose one of the porches outside.
Oh, perfect.
What a dream.
Yeah.
Speaking of loss, you're getting rid of your house and you're moving to Hawaii.
Oh my gosh.
I am.
Good for you.
I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you.
Which island?
We're on the Big Island.
Okay.
We are on the Hilo side, so
Lovely.
it's nice. Apparently, we get 300 days of rain a year, which is fun.
Well, but it doesn't,
it's not
rain,
like
it
all
doesn't
day.
rain all day. It's
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's usually at night. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah. So we're
It's going to be great.
just stepping into the abyss.
Good
Let's
for
see.
you.
Yeah, I mean we were up until 2.5 years ago. Kelly and I had really good jobs in animation, and then that shit the bed in epic fashion.
I keep coming back to, now that they animate real movies, we
Yeah.
no longer need cartoons.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now that every
Yeah.
real live action movie is fully animated by people on computers,
Yeah.
then nobody wants to watch a cartoon
Everything is
anymore.
animation. I always
Right.
when I was teaching college, it was right when The Lion King live action came out, and all my kids and in our storyboarding class, they were all talking, I can't wait to see live action, I can't wait to, and I finally turned around and I said, stop saying that. It's computer generated animation. There's not one live action frame in there. Like, they went and shot plates, and then they animated the fucking lions. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's like
It's more.
I'm like, it's more animation.
What do they call the motion cap? It's closer to
Mocap.
motion cap
Yeah.
than anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mocap, right?
Yeah.
We saw Robert Zemeckis in the beginning of motion capture.
That was insane.
Yeah, with the DeLorean.
Big green room.
Oh wait, I bet I have a. Oh, maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. Ta-da! That day. Look at that day. That's amazing,
Wow.
right?
I always thought Zemeckis had a very Letterman vibe to him.
He looks exactly like David
absolutely
Letterman.
does.
He looks like David Letterman
Absolutely.
with 40 more
I'm
pounds.
surprised there's not watermelons dropping
If
off the
Letterman
roof
stopped
behind him.
jogging, that's exactly what he looks like.
That's amazing.
And then since we're doing movie cars, we
That
were
is
also
so
over here
funny.
behind your one of the ectos
Oh, look at that.
when we were doing LA proper.
Babies.
Yeah, babies is right.
Babies.
Fat
my
baby.
God.
Shout out to Anastasia Roark.
Yep. There's Anastasia.
Yeah,
Cute,
That's
cute.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We were kids. We've known each other a long
A
time.
very long time.
25 years.
That's extraordinary. A lot of people
Yeah.
drift in and out of their lives, and 5 years. I wonder whatever happened to that guy, but not.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. And then only some of my East Coast friends are longer than you.
Kaz and
Yeah, Australia specifically. I,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I was like 16 when we started.
Wait, Jay, did you grow up on the East Coast?
I did.
Okay.
Connecticut, just
Okay.
outside Manhattan.
Okay.
I only say that because people assume it's the sticks, and like it is the sticks, but 40 minutes outside of
Yeah.
Midtown.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was easy to get to, and the train too. I took
Yeah.
the train from like a really early age, so I kind of just everything was very accessible.
Connecticut's beautiful.
And he was outside Boston, up in
Okay.
Lynn, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
what about
cool.
you?
Oh,
Before
really?
the 30
I
years
have a
here.
good friend from Lynn.
Do you really?
Yeah. Which is strange.
I
I'm
still have
not
one or two.
100% sure. Chris
That's
Angeli.
so funny.
Yeah.
Do you know Chris Langelli?
Chris
Langeli or
Angeli.
Angeli?
Angeli. Like, I feel like her brothers, and I'm going to have to text her when I get back, but I'm pretty sure she's from Lynn, which is, it's small.
It's
And
funny. I went to school
Next
with a
to
kid
Salem.
named Peter Angeli. I wonder.
I think that's her brother.
What the f-
Wow.
Small.
I'm pretty
Small
sure
world.
that is her brother. Yeah.
Sean Bishop,
Yeah.
this is your life!
Yeah.
His dad was a teacher.
I think so.
Oh my
Fucking
god!
What a small
Yeah.
world.
Hell, you've got to
Yeah.
be shitting me. And oddly enough, not the first time I've run into somebody from Lynn who knew somebody that I knew in Lynn. I'm like, well,
Lynn's a small town.
ish.
So I thought when she said she knew somebody, I go, well, we've got a connection here.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
It's I find when I first come, and I grew up in Northern California, and so in east of Berkeley. So
Thank you for the deferred answer on that question.
Thank you. Okay, sure.
I appreciate it.
So I've been down here, whatever I said, 30 years, and you think, oh, LA is so big, and I'm never gonna know anyone, and it is not. It's a big, small city,
Yeah, it
and
really
you run
is.
into people all the time, and it's kind of one of the things that like people who aren't from here don't really understand. You're like, it's actually an amazing community, and you do meet a lot of great people.
It
who
takes a
ends up-
while, though,
It
doesn't
does
it?
take a while.
So that was going to be what made you guys realize that. It wasn't until we got Nicole and myself, and it wasn't until we got into the car community where we started to, we drove a car that people recognized. So the people would start waving, and
Yeah.
it felt like a small town.
That's nice.
So it was the car community for us. What made you guys feel that way about LA?
I just slowly picked up a friend base
Oh.
working in animation.
You just grew roots.
Yeah, pretty much. And, when I got comfortable leaving my safe space and go out and sort of explore LA a little bit, because I was still like small town Massachusetts and very closed-minded. I'd be like, oh, I can't go into downtown LA, I'll get shot. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
it's,
yeah, of course.
shit like that.
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It wasn't so wrong.
But eventually that went away.
I grew
But
up in the suburbs of New York City, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm
We're the
like-
opposite side.
Yeah,
The,
exactly. Yeah.
We're like, see you there.
I'm like, in the forest? You want me to go into the forest?
You're like,
I
what?
don't know who's hiding behind
Yeah.
the tree. Somebody's back there.
There's feral
eat
people.
me. I don't know.
It's country mouse and city mouse. That's what we've
Yeah.
got going on here.
But what I did end up finding was the phenomenon in it is I somehow disproportionately the people I'm friends with all are transplants from the East Coast.
Oh,
that
me too.
happens here.
It's it's interesting.
So what does that mean? We find our clique? Like you just find your people?
We're just attracted to each other. Yeah, I think it's just a vibration.
Maybe it's an energy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an energy. It's a vibration. I think it's also how we approach life and our like core values, but like how we speak to each other and
Decency, human decency.
human decency, but also like people from the Midwest behave differently than people from the East Coast, which behave differently than people from the South. They're different cultures. So
Yeah.
I think you just migrate towards the culture that you connect with.
I think that
because
makes a lot of
you
sense.
Speak the same language, you know.
Funny thing is, I'd usually find out after. Like, we'd be friends for like 2 years. I'm like, where are you from? Oh, I'm from,
Right, we've already connected.
Methuen. And I'm like, what?
How did we never talk
I'm like,
about
how did
that?
I never? Yeah, exactly.
Well, so I agree with everything Ariel just said. That makes so much sense. But what's happening? But
The green room was calling.
The question I would. Oh, well, no, I lost it. I don't remember what I was
You're
going to.
agreeing with me.
Yeah, right. We'll leave it there. No. So I was going to. Good vibes is like the opposite of that. It's a potpourri of
Yeah.
anybody and everybody from literally all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
People
Oh,
come from
yeah.
all over the world.
Great
to
eclectic
come to.
mix.
Yeah, but it somehow has that same vibe that you're talking about of a natural click from people from your homes. But this is the opposite of that. So why does it land in the same way? Like I
I mean,
can't.
if you're willing
I think
to drive
it's
up
the
that
energy
mountain
you
and
drive-
hang out in
bring.
the parking lot, you know.
I think it's
Is that what it is?
I think it's also the shared love of cars.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah, but
having
this is LA. There's a car show on every corner every
Not-
day of the week.
Not
but
this
not,
one.
I don't
Not
think
that.
like this,
Not
and I
that
think
one.
that's something that Lieberman's, the Cars and Coffee they just did at Helms, had kind of a similar vibe in that, not having been to Good Vibes, but from what it sounds like, that sort of eclectic mix of all kinds of different makes, all kinds of different people, all kinds of just, it felt so
All welcome.
It just all welcome. And I've worked in the aftermarket as well, so I spent a lot of time kind of in the South and Midwest and
Yeah.
around the hot rod community.
That's
And
cool.
you know, when you're able to get and then you get sort of the hot rod community that comes together sometimes with like the JDM community or
Big
the
time,
Euro
yeah.
community.
Go to
and
Bob's
it's like,
Big Boy on a
is
Friday
it gonna
night.
be-
Everybody's all
Is it
together.
going to be combustible? No, it's the one shared thing. You don't have to talk about politics. You don't have to talk about anything. You just talk about like your general love for
Your
cars.
love of beautiful machines.
And then you just talk to them as people, and everything kind of gets blocked out. And I do believe there's a lot to be said about that. And it, people have whatever they think about car people or car community until you spend a lot of time in it. I
Yeah.
think it's such a it's such a uniter, and I really
Unless
think
it's a
that helps.
DeLorean.
or a Lambo. I mean,
Don't bring me back.
It's disarming.
Yeah.
Also, don't ever underestimate the vibe that you bring to the mix.
Literally
I do. I underestimate that on a regular basis.
course you do.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing attention to that. Well, because we didn't. I've said this 1,000 times. I'm going to keep saying it until the day I die. We didn't really create what Good Vibes is. She got sick. We started blowing off Friday mornings because we couldn't do other stuff. So we go, we can't keep up with this pace of the real world and make all our phone calls and do other things. So let's take a 30-day weekend. So we would blow off Friday mornings by driving up the hill, and we found this mountain place, and they were all pretty great. Like, the vibe, in my opinion, of Newcomb's has been there for 100 years. And then we just sort of like succumbed to that. And then maybe when Newcomb's closed, we just kept that going, is my mind. But we never really intended. Well, we posted about it every week, but when we first started posting, we probably had 500 followers. So it's like, who's that going out to? 2 friends and 100 people from out of town?
But some of the best things started with no intentions like that. You know
Well,
what
so
mean?
I agree. Some of the best magic I love in the
Yeah,
world,
for the
or some
love
of
of
the
the game.
shows that we fell in love with as kids, would not have gone had they not been given time to simmer and get there.
Yeah.
I think of Seinfeld, Cheers,
Cheers,
Taxi, and some of these
Seinfeld.
shows that
Yep.
just
Yeah.
would have been gone if they
Breaking
didn't
Bad,
have.
wasn't that one that almost went off the air after
That
the
doesn't
first season
surprise
or
me.
something?
It was too
That's-
good.
Yeah, and it was too smart, and then it.
Which
blew
one
up.
was that?
Breaking Bad?
Oh.
I feel like I heard. I don't know why
It
that
could
just popped in
be.
my head, but I feel like I
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
that.
Could be.
It was like we would have been at a loss.
I'll tell you what, too. It's funny.
That's right. No Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And, thank God some of the shows that we ended up loving, we won't sidebar on this too long, ended up going in the 80s. Because you go back and you watch some of the pilots, and you're like, I'm like,
I know.
Like
So the
Family,
Seinfeld Chronicles is
Family
rough.
Ties is nigh unwatchable. The
pilot?
Yeah.
That's good to know because there's
The canned laughter and some of the
but you
hackney jokes and stuff, but then Michael J. Fox walks into the
That was
room and
what I
it
was
goes,
gonna-
"Wah!" You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, that's why they kept it around. They're like, let's watch this kid.
you could tell that he
Yeah.
had the electricity.
Absolutely. And then the rest of the cast caught up, and the show got tight. You know
But then
what I mean?
we have a love of Cheers. Then you get a Cheers where it's a perfect pilot where every single
pilot.
character is established in that,
Perfect
and then that's
pilot.
you're off and running.
Yep.
All right. Would you ever drive a Porsche or a VW variant or anything like
Sure.
that? You would.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because you like the muscle cars and the
I do.
American stuff.
I
you know?
do.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
His your Challenger
Yeah.
is Dukes of Hazzard orange,
Nice.
and it's got the big engine and the whole thing. It's
Nice.
basically a
Takes
modern
over.
day General
Nice.
Lee.
I started my car love. Well, I learned how to drive on a VW Bug, but I went deep into Ford like V8s for a while.
I used to have
which-
a Mustang. It was
Yeah.
just beautiful.
Yep. So I very much appreciate the.
And then
hot
we
rod
built the
scene.
movie cars, which they were Cadillacs with 59 ambulances,
Yep.
hearse
Oh my God.
ambulances for
Amazing.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the engine bay was bigger than my first apartment.
Bet. I love it.
Well, it had more mingle room, that's for sure.
It certainly did. Cat box over in the corner. Yeah, that was between DeLoreans and Ectos. We
So the
certainly.
DeLorean to me is in the same pocket because it's a rear engine.
Oh yeah.
So the 911 and the DeLorean are actually
Yeah.
much more similar than people give them credit for.
Right.
The chassis is probably more Lotus, the double wide chassis, but and everything else, I guess, designed by Giugiaro, same guy, I guess.
So crazy.
Funny.
But the rear engine to me always felt a little bit 911, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm that far removed these days.
Remember how crazy it was driving the DeLorean at first, and how low to the ground it was.
For you, yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
had an SUV at the time. Well,
Right,
you still
right.
do, I guess.
I
but-
had the Xterra at the
Yeah.
time, and then getting into the DeLorean, you're like
Yeah.
looking up into the wheel wells of Volkswagens. You're like, the fuck is this?
Yeah, you also weren't as much of a. Forgive me, I hope you aren't offended by this. As much of a car guy
was
as
not.
I am. You were
I
a
was not.
movie prop guy.
Yep.
And I was the car guy,
Mm-hmm.
and so generally I would do the driving, and the cars would be great,
Yep.
no issues whatsoever. And then one time I'm out of town or something, and he's got to drive to an event and do it on his own, and broke down on the way home. It's over at Jerry's shop.
Wow.
Oh, the Ecto.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That car fucking hated me. Absolutely did. And I would sometimes yell at it too, which you're not supposed to do. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, Uncle Jay drives you. It's just fine."
Why are you not supposed to yell at them?
They're sensitive and could try to kill you, much
Right.
like
true.
Christine.
True.
Do you mean superstition-wise, like
Yeah.
don't rub it the
Yeah.
wrong way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh well, Christine. They were similar. They were relatives. Christine and the Ecto.
Yes,
Your
they
Ecto.
fucking were.
Your Ecto was delightful with me really pretty much every
All the
time, except
time.
the one time you came with me and then it broke down on the way home.
It didn't like
And
you.
you really had a
Yeah,
torrid
it was you and
relationship.
Kelly. Oh, the
Yeah.
worst part, it was you and your now wife.
Oh yeah.
Poor thing.
Oh, my
She's
God.
like, I didn't even want to come. Now,
I know.
now we're riding home in a tow truck.
I know.
I was stuck.
Kelly has seen
What a
way
saint.
too much shit. Yeah. Seriously, it's just unbelievable. Yeah.
You're not going to go to Air and Water because that's not your scene. Are you going to go to Air and Water on Saturday?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
thinking
too.
About it.
Me too.
Yeah. I think it's, I want to support Pat and
Same.
say hi
And
to
Zwart.
everybody and Zwart and say hi to everybody. And, it's one of those things where I'm like, do I want to go by myself? But
Yeah.
back to the car community thing, at least this event, I know that there'll be a lot of people there.
It's in Orange County. I could pick you up on the way.
Oh gosh, I would.
I don't want to go alone either. I was going to go with Phil, but he's got family in town now, so he can't go.
I need a ticket. I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But
I
yeah.
didn't. I did. I we. Mhm. I wasn't gonna go. I didn't think I'd be able to go because our friend Sam's memorial is on that day as well. But because of commitments and how it all works, yeah, I really, for the same reasons, I want to go to Air and Water, and I also had already committed to some other stuff, so it's kind of like I don't want to bail.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that I'll miss the other thing.
It's all right.
Yeah, you're not gonna go either, are you?
I have family stuff to do. I have some
Yeah.
obligations, house related. There's a lot going on this
I'll say.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing against Sam.
No,
we were there till the end. For
we were.
fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
like
What more do you want from me?
I feel like you two are good.
I have
You
said-
did the thing. You did the
Seriously.
thing.
Yeah.
I have said goodbye to. I had to say goodbye to him twice because remember we thought he was dead.
Oh my god.
Correct.
And we were flipped out, and then we
Well,
found out.
you
Oh
were-
no, he's in IC. I'm like, so we lost him twice.
Yeah.
the shock of it, and then the slow burn out.
Right.
But I mean, it's like we were there a lot. We spent a lot of late nights there, sitting there.
Everyone for 11
lively-
days.
Yeah, lively.
And these people didn't see me except for when I'd show up for like a car and be like, "Okay, back to the hospital."
Yeah.
And then Magnus saw me going down the freeway. Oh, on the move, mate. I'm like, back
The
to the
interesting
hospital.
thing is because we've been around so much sort of death, especially in the East Coast and stuff like that, grandparents, everything. You know how to you sort of learn how to sit in a hospital and
This
shoot
is
the
what we
shit,
do.
You know, and we were talking not loud, but we were laughing
Yeah.
and joking and
Yeah.
everything like that.
Sometimes
And-
they're the funniest. This is when my grandmother
Yes.
passed away, and they lived in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, outside of Detroit. And I'm going through her stuff. My mom, my aunt, and my parents were raised Catholic, but defected and were not practicing Catholics. Much to the dismay of my grandmother. And I mean,
I always
were in
call
hys-
myself recovering Catholic.
Thank you. Yes, like in hysterics, finding some of the stuff and laughing about the things that they were supposed to know, like the rituals and the things, and the priest would like ask them something, and they're like, I don't know, and you could just see the look
And
on
also
his
with
face.
you.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, and you too, buddy.
yeah. But you have to the stories, like telling stories, like you have to
shit.
find a
Now
sense
you
of
got an echo
humor,
in my head.
right? Like you have to.
Yes,
laugh.
you do.
Like-
Now I just got Catholic Mass in my head. Thanks.
You want to get down on your knees.
Yeah, right.
We'll all do
Wrong
it
part of
together.
Mass.
Oh, sorry.
When do I sit? When do I stand? When do I kneel?
Yeah.
What do I do?
And then after
Callous
everyone
stuff.
leaves is what he was talking about.
I know.
Yeah, can I have some wine? That's really the best part of this whole
I
thing.
came for the
Yeah,
wine.
I came for the wine.
I heard there'd be wine and crackers. Am I at the right
I
place?
needed a little nosh. I heard you had a
So
little nosh
funny.
here. Is that what you do in this space?
Oh, this is good wine. Hey, who's this Jesus they keep mentioning?
I went
Must have
through
been a
my
good
first
guy.
communion.
A lot of people turned out.
Brought the wine.
Yeah. I went through my first communion, and the best part was the donuts, like after the Sunday school. And
Right.
after
Oh,
about 10, when we stopped like getting the donuts, and I was like, do I have to do this anymore? I am out. My mom's like, no, you
You're
do
like,
not have to
"Can
do
I
Only
go
this
went for the
home?"
donuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
No
it.
snacks. I'm out.
Yeah.
That's my
No.
life's rule.
Done. No more. But the guilt stays. Guilt stays.
That's the first thing they install in you.
Yeah.
The guilt?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Sean Bishop, how did we meet? Since we're throwing that back out there, I'm looking at hers. How did we meet? She already told us.
I
How
think
did we
it
meet?
was the interwebs back in the day.
I think so,
Through-
too.
Through a
I
building
think we met online.
chat. Yes, we did.
AOL chat
It would have been.
It was
would
well
have been
before
like,
eHarmony.
No, it would have been like 2000
Yeah.
because I was working at David E. Kelly, and you were at DreamWorks at the
I think I
time.
was.
I think. but you had the
And you
message
were-
board at the time.
You were at those sound stages off of Silmar, weren't you? It was sort of up there near Valencia at the time. Weren't they shooting the practice up there?
You know what? We would go out.
Yeah.
Our studios were down in Manhattan Beach,
Gotcha.
but we would go out to other, it
I remember
was an
meeting,
8-day shoot
I remember
for it was
meeting you at
episodic.
one set, you know what I mean?
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Riverfront Studios out in Silvermar. Wow, I can't believe you remember that. Out in
Can't either.
Silvermar.
It's been a lot of pot going through here.
That's crazy. We were on location that night shooting at that place had other sets, like I think it was a hospital set we needed or something, and instead of building one, we would go out there and pay for a location day even though we were still shooting in a soundstage, yada yada yada. Wow, that's crazy. What a memory. Anyway, no, we were in Manhattan Beach.
To your original question,
No, but you're right. I do remember that night. Was somebody else there? Somebody else was there too. Third person?
I don't remember, but yes.
I just remember sitting with you in that. They were in the hospital set shooting, but
And
we
we
sat in the
bar.
saloon set,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we just shot the shit.
Shot
There
the
was
shit.
no booze or any
Yeah.
drinks at all, but
No,
we
it
just
was
shot the shit.
It was great.
Bar, you're gonna shoot the shit.
Yeah, that's what you do at the bars.
Yeah. Well, and we did drink back then, so we just did everything we normally did without drinking.
Yeah.
Do you drink?
I do.
Do you smoke weed?
I don't.
Okay.
It doesn't. I just.
You want some?
It doesn't. Like I wish I have back issues, and I was like, God, I really wish I could smoke
Yeah.
weed, and it just we don't get along.
I didn't either previously,
Yeah.
nor did Nicole. But then
Okay.
when she got sick, we had already stopped drinking, and then started the weed, and now it's a thing.
Yeah.
It was a thing for her throughout
I
till
bet.
the end.
Yeah.
Stronger the better, more any different type. She had
Yeah.
6 different things going at any given time.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg level,
I
tolerance.
fully support it, and am a little bit envious, but yeah.
Yeah. I just asked because it seems like a lot of car people, it's an early morning ritual generally, the car stuff. Like, oh, we're up at, we're out of the house at 6 o'clock
Why
in the
is
morning.
that? Can we do something later?
In my drinking days, I was never out of the house at 6 in the morning.
No. No.
I'll call you at 10 when I roll out of bed. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
So it seems like there are more weeders than drinkers, from my experience. But that could just be the good vibes of it all too. People going out to the forest to go
Really good
smoke a
vibes.
tree.
Yeah.
I stopped. I've never been a big drinker, and then after I lost Mark, I just couldn't touch it. Kind of the same reason where I felt like if I had a glass of wine, well, one, I was very depressed, so knowing that was probably not a good idea.
Oh, adding more depressant to the
Adding more
mix.
depressant to the mix, but
God,
then
you're the smart one. I leaned in hard the
well,
other direction. I was just like,
I get that. Yeah, I
my-
get it.
I'm like,
But it's
who drank all this?
Asshole.
more. Yeah. I think I didn't want to do anything again. Like we loved going to wineries and we collected wine, and I was like, I didn't want to do anything joyful.
Yes.
That I was like, well, I don't. Or we met over the shared love of tequila, and I was like, well, I can't.
Can't do
we would have a
that.
tequila every
Yeah.
Friday night together, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do any of that.
Is it survivalist? Fucking, I don't know how to say it. Thank you. Is it the guilt, or is it the I don't want to enjoy these things without him?
Both.
That's what it was for
Both.
me.
But the drinking thing changed. It's like,
She's back
and
on
it
the
was
horse.
like I'm back on the horse because it made me like I finally, once everyone left, like there were people in my house all the time because I needed them to be there. I needed like people. I couldn't be alone, which is very strange because I've always been a very independent person.
Excuse me.
Bless you. And
I promise I am
Gesundheit.
interested.
Gesundheit.
Apologize.
No.
So you
Once
also
everyone-
are good alone.
I was very good alone, and then I needed people around me, which was a weird experience because no one wanted to leave me alone, and I couldn't function. Like I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't get anything done. So there was a
So
period.
this was more for your safety.
It
They're
was
taking
for
care
my-
of you.
Both. It was both. And then finally I hit a wall where I was like, everyone needs to leave.
Everyone get out.
Yeah.
Just everyone needs to get out of my house. Like I need to be in this house where I lived with my husband. I need quiet. I need, and then I realized what that was like.
Ariel and Manuel were both here for that moment for me. She was already leaving. He was going to spend the night. I was like, it would be so nice if you didn't.
Yeah.
I go, it has nothing to do with you. I know
And
you
you
spent the
can't-
last
they
couple
can't take
nights.
it
I just,
personally.
I'm
Yeah.
ready to,
Yeah.
I got to do this.
But,
And with you, I was very much like, you say jump it, I'll just say how high. I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily like trying to be in your space.
No, and you didn't push me either.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, anytime that you would be like zero pressure, I'm like, I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah.
That's it. And then, you know.
Yeah, no, people were, I can't say enough about the
Support system.
incredible,
Yep.
like, people.
That's great.
So you had your friends. You had probably your husband's friends. Did everybody come out of the woodwork for you?
You know what's interesting? Yes. And yes, and I gained some new friends, like people that were kind of on the periphery that I was friends with, but they weren't kind of day-to-day friends, and became like angels, and like could not live without them. And I can't imagine who didn't even know my husband in some
Whoa.
cases, which is crazy because they were just like swim friends or whatever, and they just became like
We're doing this together now.
I couldn't live without them. And I lost some friends who were 20-year friends, you know, just for the same conversation we were having earlier, just about just people's paths and lives and what they could deal with and what they couldn't deal with, and what I could deal with and what I couldn't deal with. And so
Yeah.
it was a very interesting.
Our buddy
Dynamic.
Jeff that we built Ghostbuster stuff with, and we said he just lost his partner Amanda. He said he went to grief counseling, or a grief group, you know, a support group, and they told him something that I couldn't fathom. And from your story, from what I saw here, from what I've experienced, apparently they said get ready for everybody to disappear from
Oh,
your
yeah.
life.
Oh yeah,
Big time.
yeah.
And I was like, really? Because I remember the Nicole of it all, you had a support system to the point where you were able to say, I need space. Sounds like you had a support system. But literally after Amanda's memorial, a lot of people just dipped.
Yeah.
And Jeff didn't hear from anyone. And when I didn't have that problem because I was always checking with him on how we doing today. How you know, just sending him a heart. Don't need to hear back. Just want you to know that we were thinking of you.
Yep,
You know,
you're on our mind.
And then when I found out that happened, I was like, you got to be shitting me.
Because the in this case, the advice was accurate. That's what happened
Yeah,
to him.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never happened to me. I mean, like, you know, like case in point, I was in the middle of teaching at LCAT, my second year there, when Wally died, and about a month after it happened,
LCAT is Laguna.
Laguna College of Art and Design. Yeah, sorry about that. My students put together a giant quilt for me of drawings. They had done animation drawings of the DeLorean and stuff, and had everything printed. Like it
gosh.
was like 25 patches.
Wow.
And they just presented it to me, and it put me on the ground.
Oh man.
Absolutely. It was just like the outpouring of kindness that I experienced made me really sort of angry on Jeff's behalf. I'm like, there's no reason that you should be ghosted by anybody. So.
The reason I think our situation was different is we had already gone through that purge. Nicole was sick for so long.
Yeah.
The friends fell off one by one till at the end she only had
There was just
the
a core.
3 good ones or whatever for life. You know what I mean? And the people from her new life.
Right.
But little by little, the old colleagues, the old work friends, the old life people that they used to do physical things together and used to be out drinking and, you know, social and fair weather friends, they all went by the wayside years ago. So that when she actually died, the only people that were left were real people.
The ones that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
At least that's my perspective on it.
It's great.
I don't think people, I mean, people disappear, and I think it's not necessarily, some of them were kind of fair weather, but most people just, you know, I think this is where the conversation of spouse, not versus kid, but the conversation, it's different, right? Where if you lose a spouse, like your whole life has just completely, and again, depending on how, but your whole life, everything, your unit, everything has changed. Like you can't go forward the same. And I think people just don't really understand it. So they're like, I went to the memorial, I did the thing, I said goodbye. There is a handful of people that still check in off of, but most people, they just kind of forget. And it's not that they're doing it on purpose. It's
Right.
not that they're like dissing you. They're just like, they just go about their way, and they just think that you're done. You've gone through this already.
Correct.
And so,
They've processed it and moved on.
Yeah.
Why haven't you?
They just forget that it's like, this is literally a lifelong thing. And I have to go back home, you know, after memorial. Everyone else just gets to go back to their life, and they miss him.
Right.
They feel bad for me, but like I walk into an empty house,
Yep.
and it's sort of like, I think people forget that.
Definitely.
And it's not their job.
There's
to,
no
but,
louder silence
yeah.
in the
Oh my
world
God, it's the worst.
than coming home after that. You
Oh.
just sit there.
Yeah, I know. No, you're right. You're right.
Just stand in the middle of the empty room and go, fuck.
Well, I mean, you know,
Where to start.
we did our thing here. We didn't do it at a hospital. Like Nicole died here,
Okay.
in the other room. And you want to go see the spot? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And because, we had the hospital bed here and people would bring stuff. And so a makeshift shrine just sort of happened on the table in the other room.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's 8.5 months later and it's still there. And people are continuing to add to it if they've come over and brought, they have a thing and I haven't seen you, and cards still arrive, things like that. Everything else around here is kind of like, I wouldn't say sterile or removed of her. I mean, her pictures are everywhere, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know how long to leave it. I don't want to take it down. I do think it might be keeping me from moving on. I worry about that, but I don't know how to do
You'll
this
move
part.
on how
I don't know
and
how
when
to do
you
this
need to.
part.
There's no
That's
rule.
We're gonna know.
No rule.
Huh?
When it's time, it's just
Yeah.
gonna happen. Your body is just gonna do it, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, look at me! I guess I'm cleaning this up right now," or whatever happens.
I wouldn't
you know?
sweat about moving on.
That's
You're doing just fine.
And
Yeah.
there's no, and this may, like, you probably have heard this, but there is no moving on. You move forward, you move through, there is no moving on. You'll never move on from her. Like, even if you end up in another relationship, you will not move on from her. She will always be there. Like, and there, I think I feel very adamant about that because, and someone, if you again ever end up with someone, that person will need to understand that, and they'll need to respect Nicole, and they'll need to respect her place in your life.
My brother-in-law is going through that. He every time there's a Molly-related thing, he'll post up still, "Miss you, babe, love you," and he's been remarried to his new wife Kimberly, and she's been perfectly lovely about all of it. You know what I mean? So it's nice to see that type of situation there. You know what I mean? So it's
That helps me to hear that, because when you were just talking, I feel the same way, but in my mind I go, oh, well then if I'm ever to be with anyone again, they literally have to have gone through what I went through. You know what I mean? Like, you're a perspective fucking somebody. Some other girl who lost, they were like, otherwise I don't know how. Nobody gets it. It's like being in Vietnam in the late 60s. You come home and you're like, you weren't there, man.
Yeah.
And people, why are you so fucked up? Like, fucking because you weren't there, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's why a lot of widows do get
Yes.
together, because
Yeah.
it is an understanding that only you have.
Oh, that's a
I
thing?
could never-
I didn't even know that was a
Oh,
thing. So, because
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
figured
Never
support groups and
understand.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never did that.
As somebody who has never been married and who's never lost a partner like that, I can be as supportive as possible, and I can create all of the space in the world for that other person, because my partner's partner is like, they are a part of my relationship. So like, if I were to marry somebody who lost a partner, that partner is a part of my partner too, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're all in relationship together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that doesn't mean that I will ever understand
You
what
can't,
it is
right.
to have
No.
someone like that and lose someone like that, and then have to like create a life after that. Like that's not
Because of who
something-
you are and what you do, I think intellectually you probably can get there,
Of
honestly.
course.
But
To-
emotionally, there's no way
No.
to possibly explain it.
No.
But you can provide the space, and I think
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's like, if that person, give them, if he or she is like having a day, you're like, have a day.
Have a day.
Have a day and do what you need to
Take
do.
two.
And it shouldn't threaten, or 2 or 12 or
Totally.
whatever, you know what I mean? It
I'm gonna
shouldn't
give you
threaten
9 days.
you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it does. So one of my dear friends, his partner lost her husband at 32. He went out for a run. It was very similar, where it was like out of nowhere. He went out for a run, dropped dead. Turned out he had a heart
That's why I don't
condition nobody knew. Yeah, exactly. Just don't run. The lesson there is
Just
don't
don't
run. And and
Always
my
felt
friend
that
lost
way.
his father also when he was, I think 20 something years old. So they're both grieving together and in relationship, and that's been a big part of their relationship, was learning how to be in relationship again as a grieving
Yeah.
person and
Yeah.
with a grieving person, and they have a child together, and it's still hard, it's difficult. But there is a level of understanding that the two of them have, even though they're different types of grief, like what we were talking about before. But they can connect on that level. And I think that has been both helpful and maybe it's sometimes more challenging for them.
I'll tell you what, trauma bonding is a real thing.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Absolute one.
Those 11 days in the hospital, we'd already bonded through life, but like,
I know, but that was insane. 11 days. Mm-hmm. Walking over to like the Warner Brothers cartoon. Morning, Sam. Morning, Ralph.
everyone in the hospital knew who we were. Everyone in the cafeteria knew who we were. All the security knew who we were.
Yeah.
Everyone knew who we were by the end of the week.
Jay became a part-time nurse. They were letting him do shit.
Yeah.
I did. I never told them that on the show.
Oh, dude, it's hysterical.
I really did because I knew how to do
They put
everything.
his
Yeah, I
contact
bet.
number on the whiteboard because Jay
saw
knew more
that,
than
yeah.
anything
Call
about
that
what was
guy.
going
He's
on.
the
I
goat,
did.
yeah.
I became like Sam's
was-
personal nurse, and
What
they
was
would
so
introduce
funny-
me that way.
What was so funny is the contact numbers on the whiteboard were Jay Ryan, Steve O.
That's totally true.
Dude, how's Sam?
Oh, that's
Yeah, you're like,
Like that, Steve.
That's
That's
Steve-O?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
hospitals for you.
Yes.
that would be a room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, well,
God.
he
God, the
so
Bill- the Billy and
because it
Polly
was
thing.
hospice at the end, it was the same.
Yeah.
And because we did ours here, I got to learn how to do it all. I used to have to medicate her. I would smash up she was on liquid morphine, but then she had all these pills and stuff too, the methadone. So I'd have to crush up methadone pills, squirt the liquid morphine in, mix it up in a spoon like a
fucking
crack
Walter-
addict.
Walter
one for
White.
me,
Suck
yeah,
it.
one
He's
for
like
me.
Suck it back
Walter
into the
White.
thing, and then
Seriously.
So with that and the suction and suppositories, all sorts of things. So then I'm there with our friend, and I could help with those things. I could help roll
Like
him
the
over. I could
arthritis.
help. Yeah. So I joked with you. I go, well, if Sam was waiting for me to see his dick and asshole, he can go. He can go peacefully now.
Go now.
Yep. Seen it all.
I'd be like, finally.
Would you like me to come in there and wash your dick,
Dick
for you
you
too?
little shit.
Yeah, but by the
Good
way,
Arthur reference.
that was an honor for me because I was
Absolutely.
uniquely equipped to deal with it and to handle it.
That's why you were there.
Yeah,
That's
she
why
said
you,
the same thing.
That's
too.
why you ended up there.
You think?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Because you said the same thing the other day, but we didn't get into it.
Yeah. That's exactly. You were exactly where you needed to be. And and it was,
He's right. You couldn't write the script any other way. He didn't even live over here, but he was at the hospital that's closest to my house. It was 5 minutes away, right in Burbank. So I could literally buzz back and forth, and I spent every night there for 11 days.
yeah. It's yeah. It was it was. What was I gonna say? It was. In the most bittersweet possible of ways, it was a very extraordinary experience to be part of that.
We realized that in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
You and I would go down to the cafeteria late at night when nothing was open but a vending coffee machine.
Yep.
We were playing around the ping pong table.
Had a very very night court vibe to it.
Very much. Yes. Yes. That's a good one. Here comes Roz.
Here comes.
That's pretty good. Bull. They all kind of had different personalities. That's very funny. I didn't
great.
put that together. But I feel like we had an appreciation for it even when we were going through it versus afterwards.
Because we knew what was going on. You know,
That's true. People are in a weird state when stuff like that is going on. Some people would come in and be like, he looks great. He could wake up at any time,
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And we're like,
Yeah.
right. And having just been through it, I'm
Yeah.
like, 3 days.
No.
We've
We-
got 3
we had a-
days. Yeah.
We're just waiting it out now.
Right.
a couple of friends would be on the phone and stuff like that. They'd be, yeah, I'm here with them now, blah, blah. He goes, the doctors said there's no hope, but what the fuck do they know? And I'm looking, I'm going, look at.
We've been here, 9 days so
I was
far.
like,
it's not
no,
good.
No, I've
He's not
seen.
coming back, buddy.
I'm like, and we made a running gag of it and shit like that. Like every time we walked in the door, I'd be like, wake up, asshole.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
we be,
Yep.
and we'd be sitting there talking, blah 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 blah, and I'd say, look at Sam, I was like, for fuck's sake, will you let someone else get a word in?
Seriously,
And
shut
then we'd
up.
all burst out laughing and stuff, and
He could hear that in the first few days. He was very
yeah,
responsive. He could
his
still
eyes
and
would
stuff.
open a little bit, and I
Yeah.
was like, and then sometimes I just whisper to him, I'd be like,
I love you.
I love you, get up, we have writing to do. I mean, we
Try to
wrote
motivate him out of bed.
we wrote 20 scripts together in
Wow.
18 years.
Wow.
We only got one movie made, but goddamn, what a ride that was! That was so good. I'm gonna
Yeah, but you got another one in the
maybe.
pipeline.
We'll see.
Guest House. Guest House with Pauly Shore. It was the #1 comedy on Netflix when COVID was going on in 2020.
wow.
It was the only new movie ever made in that period, so that's why it was so popular.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
The only thing that
Yeah.
came out, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's why it was so popular?
yeah.
Own the market, baby.
Whatever.
That's
whatever
hilarious.
You
works.
thought it was because
Yeah.
it was good?
I haven't seen it, no offense.
None taken.
It's in my Apple TV queue when it hits the $4.99.
It's on my to-do list.
To-do list? It's... all right, well, geez, I'm looking at the time. I could talk to both of you forever. We have done the time. Let's see, what do we need to mention? 000, you're not really working with him right now? Or
No,
that's how I
just-
met you, so
yeah,
I
it is.
associate.
No, just wrapped up. So
Okay.
working on a couple potential new projects, and yeah.
In other places?
In other places, yes.
for you.
In automotive, but other places.
You posted a picture with I posted a picture of you with the Michelin Man.
Yes.
Tell me about your relationship with the Michelin Man.
Oddly, so that was at Turbo 50, which was an event that 000 put on at Summit Skywalker Ranch, and Michelin was a sponsor, and so it was a project, a labor of love, working with Michelin to get the 14-foot bib there. I don't know why,
so
but
The big inflatable.
Yeah.
So his name is Bibendum, the Michelin Man. That's why we call him Bib. And yeah, I don't know why. Just I'm a big Michelin tire fan. But,
Same here.
Right, and I don't know. I love Bib.
Well, that's why I was asking. I thought maybe you had an insight. We're doing another road trip. I need to go talk to
Michelin.
my friends at Michelin. Yeah, see if we can get another
Right.
set of
Well, I
tires.
did,
It's time.
but yeah, no, I mean they were an incredible sponsor. I should have.
great.
We still have some little collectibles that they gave to every guest that came to 000.
They have given us-
that came to Turbo 50.
There you go. I knew what
Yeah,
you
you
meant.
knew where I was going.
They have given us tires over the years, and they are delightful to work with.
yeah.
They really, really are.
Yeah.
And their tires are great.
They're great.
I mean, if you use a P4S, it's fantastic. If your
They're-
car needs that.
Yeah.
There was a point where I had an M5 and I had a wheel and tire warranty, and the M5 came on Pirellis, and this is, I guess the cat's out of the bag. I don't have a BMW anymore, but I called it Project Michelin. So my car found nails. In all honesty, in the
So
first
that you
6
could-
weeks
so
of
that-
having that car, I did pick up 6 nails.
Wow.
But I found some nails, and this was at the urging of my service manager.
Sure. We got to get you some Michelin.
Got to get some Michelin. So that was my dedication to Michelin.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's fun.
How was it on the Michelins versus the Pirellis? Was there a difference? Could
Yes.
you tell? See, I could
Yes.
tell the two on the 911 as well.
Yeah. And I had an X6M up in Portland, love them or hate them. I loved it. And also on Pirellis, put it on Michelin's. And you're just I don't know how people,
Right. Why did they even?
why even bother?
When I was a kid, I loved Pirelli, but now that I'm driving, I think the compounds have changed. I think Michelin really has
I think-
stepped up their
yes,
game over the last few
I agree.
years,
I agree.
or the last bunch of years. I
And for
guess
the
I should say.
specific car, I mean, I think Porsches, they just work well.
Well, but the same as you said, they have partnerships with both. So they like both.
Yeah.
I like Michelin. Maybe it's because the yellow car, it looks better with the blue. The yellow on the yellow with Pirelli is too much
Well,
for
and
me.
certain sidewalls don't look as good. So Michelin, they perform well and they look good.
Michelins look good on the
Yeah,
911.
yeah.
100%.
So, agreed.
God, I love you for saying that. That's such a fucking astute observation.
Aesthetics,
Plus the sidewall, yes, exactly.
design. Yeah.
All right. Well, did we do all the stuff? We've
Can
done
I
all the
ask you
stuff.
guys one totally random question?
Please.
So, and you're both also from entertainment, so I think I found the shows I couldn't watch comedy after this, and I started to go and only watch I was obsessed with Law and Order SVU. It had to be
Oh,
the
Nicole loved
darker.
that.
The darker, the more murdery, the more it sounds totally terrible because I am I don't know where it came from, but rapey, murdery, tortury,
Yeah.
dark,
Do you
Dexter.
think that yours?
anything.
Do you think that yours specifically has to do with the fact that your husband was taken suddenly and violently?
Maybe.
Because I had an experience like you're talking about, but it was kind of the opposite because in a weird way, Nicole was it was a blessing in a halfway. She was in so much pain. It was
Yeah,
so
I
awful that a
understand
part of me, the Ricky Gervais show on Netflix.
Oh my God.
So I found that.
It's so
And I found that a month in or whatever.
Yeah,
Afterlife.
it's so
Thank
good.
you, Manuel. And I loved it so much that I started binging it. You know what I mean? You watch it, they're only half an hour, so you watch a whole season in a day. And then I got to the second season and I stopped. It wasn't the show I needed.
Oh,
He
interesting.
had moved
Moved
on
on.
to a place where I wasn't yet. So I went back and started it over from
Watching
the
it.
beginning, and then I put a pin in it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I've since gone back and finished it.
It makes
and it's
100% sense.
delightful. What a fantastic piece of work that is
Yeah.
for someone who's actually going through. I can't believe he did it and hadn't actually gone through it.
I haven't seen it. I need to.
Oh
Start
my
that
gosh!
tonight. So that is going to start
it's
tonight.
so
I,
good.
please do.
Yeah.
It's so
You're
good.
going to understand all of it.
Okay.
It's dark.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
dark. It's dark, but it's funny, obviously.
Because I would see that and I'd be like, comedy can't watch it, even though it's Ricky Gervais.
I thought
who
the
is
same
dark,
thing. It's
but I'm
dark
like,
as fuck. So
Okay,
he,
good.
same as me, he
Perfect.
was taking care of her for 10 years or whatever, and then she dies. So he's really, he's got the thing, and his
Yeah.
dad's in a home. So it's coming from all sides.
Okay.
And I feel like having been through it, you'll get it.
Yeah, I'm just starting. I'm still watching a lot of Dateline
Yeah, I used to work on that show when that first started. Yeah.
I did. This is
Stone
my new
Phillips.
thing. Yeah, the best.
funny.
But yeah,
Kind
now
of
I'm.
like you've already been through worst case, so what's the next worst case scenario? And
That's
you're kind
yeah.
of living
You're like,
that
I want
out.
something to make me feel worse than the thing that's making me feel this bad.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's
Okay.
not
I was like, am
super
I broken?
Don Giller, Jay and I
We're
first met
all
at an
broken.
AA meeting. That's true. It was a Letterman anonymous meeting. Or maybe it was a AAA meeting. I forget. Nice. I'm not
That
good
was
with
funny.
numbers. Nice.
Don's got material.
Or letters, Don and Sean. I flew to California to see Simpsons animation, but ended up cold read recording.
Oh, that's
animation.
amazing.
It was done in Korea, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How cool.
Yeah.
There are some people that are working on The Simpsons that it's been their only career.
That's wild.
Crazy.
This is
Literally
35 years,
been
right? It's
on
been
that
there?
show.
Yeah,
They've
so
done
crazy.
nothing else. And I'm thinking, sorry, if you get a job on The Simpsons, you die out of that
Yeah,
position,
that's
man.
it.
You
Even.
just fucking stay there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's
We were trying to figure that out. It was the beginning of the Fox network because it was the Tracy Ullman show where that came from, and that was one of the launch shows
Oh
for the
my
Fox
God.
network.
I used
But
to
is
love-
that 89, 90?
yeah.
89,
It's-
yeah,
that's-
I think it was 89.
That's I was 12 years old.
I used to love how rough that animation was
In the beginning.
Yeah.
Chewy, and how
And the voices, too, were
and how
different.
Homer was he was really just doing Walter Matthau. That was what he was originally doing.
Basically.
Yeah.
I love that. Again, astute observation.
Maybe I can convince them I'm Matt Groening and sneak in with get a job.
Do it.
That's hilarious. What do we have? Let's see. You're moving to Hawaii. You've
That's
got that
it.
coming up. We have another car project coming up, but we can't talk about it yet. But it is coming up, so that's exciting.
It
you and
is.
me.
Yes.
You have some new stuff coming up. Were you going to say something before too? Babes in Classics. If not, just give yourself a plug.
Nope, just check out the sexy directory. I am working on a little something called Fuck Like the Movies. So
Oh my!
yeah,
Well.
yeah.
Intriguing.
Can we talk about the fact that you also have an agent now? Does that matter? Should I say
Yeah.
that or not say that?
We can talk about that. Yeah,
Congratulations. She has
That is
she's
great.
repped at a very reputable agency, UTA.
UTA baby.
So-
Shout
It's
not
out
a
to
UTI.
my agents at UTA. Love them. So yeah.
So if you want to book this lady, reach out to UTA.
That's great.
Yes, for intimacy coordinating and voiceovers and hosting and all sorts of things.
Everything.
So, all the things.
Good
yeah.
for you.
That's what I love about them is that they're like, and we also know you do a bunch of different things. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So,
Let's do all
for
the
you.
all
let's
of
do
them.
all the things
Yeah, all the
instead of
things.
a weird thing. I grew up on stage and not to make it about me, but I will. But I grew up on stage and I was always in theater. And then I graduated and my first job out of college was as a talent agent. And then I was on the production side. So like every part of the performer side of myself was just always subsided because I was behind the camera. So I'd like to
interesting.
integrate those things.
Should be good.
Amazing.
We're looking forward to seeing where you end up with this partnership.
Thanks.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Where your placement,
What
where you end up,
happens?
what happens?
The
Yeah,
world is open.
right. The world is open.
But it is all focused on sex and intimacy and stuff like that. So like
that's what I-
yeah
okay.
yeah it's not like a free for all like I want to go out for every deal.
Right. I'm going to be on
It's specific
America's
to,
Next Ninja
sexual
show.
wellness brands and like things around pleasure and sex and intimacy.
That I don't understand why you're not putting your name and face on things like that. Why don't you don't write a book? Why, like she's got so much in her.
I'm working on it.
She's
Fuck
doing
like
it all.
The movies.
Oh, I see.
It'll
Okay.
be a signature course and then probably a book after that, to be honest with you. But
All right.
yeah.
And shout out to MC3 Films in the background over there shooting shooting stills all night. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Any plugs for you?
MC3 Films.
MC3 Films.
There you
Follow
go.
MC3 Films on Instagram. You're Sean P. Bishop on Instagram, but it's basically your private account, right?
Nobody
You're not
cares.
doing any
Yeah, it's just-
PR or
I
anything.
care.
Want to see pictures of corgis and cats? People can.
Corgis and cats?
Yeah,
It's the new
people can-
Sunday morning activity. Come to Corgis and Cats in Pasadena.
Have you done that?
3 more months till it moves to Hawaii.
Have you seen those butts? Come on.
Oh, I know. And we kept our tails on ours. The big
Oh,
giant rudders. That's so
those are the
great.
cutest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They dust the
Yeah.
house for you, right? As they're running
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Is that it? Are we good? Did we do the thing?
I think we did.
Thank you
The thing
very
has been done.
What?
I said the thing has been done.
Oh, thank you very much for watching at home. We love you so much. Please love one another, and we'll see you out there. That's it. Back next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Back next week.
Thank you so much. Oh, and what's your handle? Jesus, I'm sorry.
I'm
Sarah Lassek.
at SLLASSEK.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful. SL Lassek.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just cars and cats.
Go to Porsche Life today and
Yeah.
click on the picture that I posted of her with Michelin Man.
Yeah.
And if you know someone at Michelin, send me their contact
send
info.
some
tires.
I need to find some tires for this road trip.
Call me.
That's it. We love you at home. Please love one another. See you out there.
Love you.
We did it.
It's great.
You guys are great. It's nice to commiserate with
That
other
was
people.
That was kind of a feel-good show, despite the subject
Heavy
matter.
subject matter.
Yeah.
I hope so. It's a little bit of a departure. Oh, good.
I liked
having everybody in at the same time.
Yeah. I like to
group
think
photos.
that